making their way to the microphone, it's Daniel Cormier and Ariel Helwani.
Back in your life on this 4th week of December 2020. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to a brand new and the final edition, at least of this year, 2020. We're not wrapping this bad boy up. Final edition of 2020 of DC and Helwani. That's DC.
Wrong way, man. Wrong way? You want to try to go the right way once?
No,
it's the other way.
This way. I'm Helwani, Ariel Helwani, and DC. We have made it to the end. And, I was hoping to start this show off. Good vibes, good fortune.
It ain't good right now. You said the last show of 2020. It might be the last show of all time, actually. It
seems like you're mad at me. Why are you mad at me?
Man, you are just not a good friend. I mean, you are as advertised. The people that have come for you this year that I've stood up for. The Darren Tills. The managers, the fighters, everybody that's come for your head and come for your neck, and I've defended you. They were right.
They're
the problem? All right.
What's the problem?
You are as advertised.
What is the problem?
You're mean. You're not a good friend. And I tried yesterday. I needed you. In the moment that I needed you very badly, I called you. You didn't answer. Not only did you not answer, you didn't call me back.
Yeah.
I mean, just the fact that you could be riding so high of those stupid Buffalo Bills that you just ignore me. And then you're on the phone. I mean, it's just crazy. It's so disrespectful. And for you and I to have done what we've done this year, for you to treat me in this way is unfair and not right. So
what did you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about?
I don't remember no more.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Well, listen,
okay, I'm not
gonna let your negative attitude ruin what is a great day. So many things to celebrate today. Not only is it our final show of 2020, what a 9-month stretch it has been. We had the final UFC event of the year. Of course, I'd be remiss if I don't wish you and your family a look on the bright side day today. A happy look on the bright side day. That's today, DC. Could you imagine? Today is look on the bright side day. Yes. Also, it's National Coquito Day, DC.
Oh, what's a coquito?
It's a traditional Puerto Rican holiday drink which embodies the warm island spirit. DC, don't forget, today's also National Crossword Puzzle Day. You can sit home next to your Yule log. And by the way, it's National Yule Day today. So you can sit by your Yule log, have a merry, merry day while eating French fried shrimp, because today is also National French fried shrimp day today. And of course, DC, I'd be remiss if I don't wish you and your family National Short Girl Appreciation Day. For the short girl in your life, I wish it was December 22nd, because tomorrow, December 22nd, is National Date Night.
I can't take no more. Please stop, please.
Tomorrow's Date Nut Bread Day. You can have some date nut bread tomorrow.
I can't take no more. Please stop. Please stop.
Okay. All right. So
I can take one. I can only take one. Please stop.
It was a very special day. Saturday, by the way, was a very special night. It was the final. Are you okay there?
Put you a National Short Girl Day.
I thought you would appreciate that, being a shorter person yourself.
Stop.
Okay.
I am way taller than average height. The average human man is what, 5'7"? I'm 5'11". So let's call.
Oh, really? Are you 5'11"?
Well, before, when I was younger, I was 5'11". I think I may have gotten shorter over the course of my life.
It happens with age.
It used to be 5'11", yeah.
That's actually a perfect segue to Saturday night, DC, because 2 Saturdays ago, you okay there, bud? Everything all right? Okay. 2 Saturdays ago, the theme at UFC 256 was a little bit depressing in the sense that we saw a lot of veterans lose in dominant fashion, right? We saw JDS lose. We saw Tony Ferguson lose. We saw, who else do we see lose? Jacare Souza, he lost as well, got knocked out. And so it was kind of like, all right, this is the changing of the guard. Great. You see some youngsters break through, but it was a little depressing to see, veterans lose like that. On Saturday, final UFC event of the year, you were there in attendance, cage side. it was actually the complete opposite. We saw the vets pick up big wins. Anthony Pettis, big win. Jose Aldo, big win. Wonderboy Thompson, big win. Now, Pettis and Aldo, not exactly old timers, still in their early.
They're so young, it's crazy.
But they've been around for 10 plus years, and Wonderboy is about to turn 38 in February. So let me ask you this off the top. Of the older guys that won and looked good on Saturday, who impressed you the most?
Wonderboy. I mean, right? Wonderboy. I mean, once again, he was able to do what he's done on so many different occasions, right? Just provided a puzzle that is so difficult to put together that guys look lost. I said this on the broadcast Saturday a few times. I said, guys end up taking pictures, right? They end up standing in front of Wonderboy, taking pictures. And that's exactly what happened to Geoff Neal. He wasn't able to keep up with Stephen, and Stephen would hit him, create angles. I mean, by the time Geoff Neal was trying to figure out where to punch, Wonderboy would already be gone.
You know, I do think that the story of Geoff Neal kind of got forgotten a little bit in the sense that Wonderboy won that fight fair and square. It was very dominant. Most significant strikes landed in his career in a single fight, the 8th most in a welterweight fight. Geoff Neal, 3 months ago, had congestive heart failure. The guy was in the hospital, had just battled COVID. Like, the fact that he was even there, the fact that he went 5 rounds with Wonderboy, I know they don't count moral victories on your record on Tapology, but let's be honest, that was a moral victory for Geoff Neal. Wonderboy was the better man. But the fact that he went 5 rounds with Wonderboy and never got finished, I was actually really impressed with Geoff Neal on Saturday.
And also not quitting on himself, right? Because for the entirety of the fight, he was continuing to try to press forward and find ways to attack Stephen Thompson, which is very difficult in itself. You know, the Wonderboy Thompson is so difficult because not only is he a traditional martial artist, he's a guy that sets a lot of traps. He's also very big for the weight class, right? So when Geoff Neal's trying to approach, when Geoff Neal's trying to enter, Wonderboy's creating angles, and before you can even get your offense going, he's completely behind you. There were times where he was standing behind Geoff Neal when Geoff Neal's trying to throw punches. It was crazy.
It's amazing because I feel like Wonderboy has been put in this spot to be a stepping stone for younger guys as of late, right? Vicente Luque, a year plus ago, Geoff Neal, even Darren Till in Liverpool. The guy won't go away. He's still very good. I don't know about, I think you said he has the best takedown defense in welterweight history, which is just a crazy statement. I mean, one of the all-time crazy statements. It was just wacky.
The thing, right? So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Because of this, Wonderboy Thompson is a striker.
Yes.
You understand that in order to beat him, you got to ground him. This happened to him early in his career where he got grounded out by I can't remember who it was, but
Matt Brown.
Matt Brown. Rounded him out early in his career, so you kind of have a clear path to how to beat Stephen Thompson. On the feet, he's so difficult. So everybody goes in with the idea that they're going to take him down. Nobody's been able to do it. Woodley was not able to hold him down for a sustained period of times. High-level wrestlers that he's competed with, high-level grapplers, they can't take him down to implement that game plan. So when you do that and you look at the guy for his skill set, that is a massive statement that he has the 3rd highest takedown defense among active welterweights.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's a great stat, although, you know, GSP, Kamaru Usman, those are some.
I mean, come on. Usman texted me during the event. He's like, yo, I'm sitting at 100%. But I'm like, Usman, when was the last time somebody actually tried to take you down? He goes,
that's fair.
Damian Maia 15 times. I'm like, Damian Maia is trying to drag you to the mat. You're a wrestler. You shouldn't get taken down by Damian Maia. But I get what they're saying. But I'm talking about in terms of fighting style and your abilities are what you're supposed to have as abilities. Wonderboy's defense is top notch.
Well, it's a good pick to that question, right? It's a good answer. My answer is actually Jose Aldo. I thought Aldo was done against Petr Yan. I said earlier last week, I still believe Chito Vera is going to be a champion. I really do believe he will fight for a belt and be a champion before it's all said and done. But Jose Aldo, man, this guy at 135, number one, it just speaks to just how good Petr Yan is, the fact that he did that to him. Number two, lest we forget, earlier this year, feels like 10 years ago, Aldo probably beat Marlon Moraes, right? Yeah. And so he comes back now and he beats Vera, who looks so good against Sean O'Malley. I'm not ready to, and he calls out TJ Dillashaw. Love that fight. We could get your take on that fight in a second. But if I'm to answer that question that I just posed to you, Jose Aldo is my pick because I honestly thought he was done after the beating he took against Petr Yan.
Well, the thing is this, right? He got beat by Petr Yan, but early in the fight, he was very competitive. So it's not like he didn't fight Petr Yan even early. He got tired, and as he got tired, Yan kind of pulled away from him. So you saw spots in that fight where Aldo looked like himself, but on Saturday night, man, those body shots he landed in the first round, the way that he moves his head, dips and throws, fantastic. And then to go and get that takedown in the third round when he needed it, to put an exclamation point in the judges' scorecards, beautiful.
Yeah, Vera says he was a little too aggressive in that third round, got a little too excited. He'll be back, but to me, just blown away by him coming back after that beating, because that's the kind of beating that could change your career, yes?
Absolutely. But let's go back to the main event a little bit, right? So Geoff Neal and Stephen Thompson. Geoff Neal, you said 3 months ago he had
congestive heart failure, sepsis.
A month after that, he didn't train. So he's legitimately just been training for 8 weeks. Because for a month, he had to sit out and do nothing. So Geoff Neal going 25 minutes at the pace that they went at is something to hold up high, and also deal with the adversity of the cut early off an accidental headbutt. That's difficult when you're in there with a sniper like Thompson, who's just touching you on the cut over and over again.
Yeah. Want to give a shout out to Thompson as well, because it appears as though he injured his knee, his right knee at some point in the fight. We don't know how bad it is, but after the fight, like right after, he was on crutches. So clearly he was in a lot of pain. And the fact that he was able to move in that kind of pain with a compromised leg, very impressive. Now, afterwards, DC, he called out Jorge Masvidal. He said, let's do NMF versus BMF. He didn't walk out with the NMF title. I was a little disappointed in that. I mean, I gifted it to him. I mean, yeah, it was like, it's kind of a big deal. It costs a lot of money. In any event, I kind of want to take it back at this point because it seems like he's a little ungrateful. He beat Jorge Masvidal 3 years ago. How do you feel about him calling out the guy that he beat, and are you interested in that fight?
Well, now it's like call out Masvidal, right? You already got a victory over him. Guy's a massive star. So why wouldn't he want to fight him again? I mean, there are fights for Wonderboy. I don't know if Masvidal is that fight, because where does it get you? Plus, it feels like Masvidal and Covington is the fight to make right now because of where they are in their careers. But you got a Wonderboy who has now beaten Luque, who had won 7 or 8 in a row. 7 or 8 in a row.
I think I won 7.
Geoff Neal had won 7 in a row.
5 in the UFC.
Overall. 5 in the UFC, but 7 in a row overall going into the Wonderboy fight. So these prospects that are on their way up, fighting Wonderboy Thompson, it's like a roadblock. So he needs to be in there with guys like, so you have Usman Covington, you have Masvidal. I mean, I really don't know, because it's tricky, right? You burn guys trying to get him past Wonderboy, but then you have Wonderboy who's fought for the belt twice now. What do you do with him?
A Magny, a Michael Chiesa, a Damian Maia type to work his way back up. I agree with you. Masvidal Covington has to be the fight.
Have to do, right? Like, he just beat 2 dudes. He just beat 2 dudes that's we identified as possible contenders. Luque has looked fantastic. Neal looked fantastic. Wonderboy shut them both out, essentially. So how much work does he have to do in order to get a title fight against a Usman who he hasn't fought before? Woodley losing the belt was the best thing that could have happened for him, because he's already lost to him twice, or drew with him twice and then lost once. So this is a great new landscape for Wonderboy Thompson.
So, okay, speaking of new landscapes, we talked about Aldo a little bit, talked about Wonderboy. I think, DC, in my heart of hearts, and obviously I'm not just talking, via my heart with conversations in mind as well, I think that was the last time we ever see Anthony Pettis, at least for now, in the UFC octagon. Final fight on his contract, new man, changed, feels to be in a great place, seems to be in a great spot. A lot of people focusing on Bellator. I wouldn't rule out PFL, but it seems to me, based on what he was saying, and also if you listen closely, Duke Rufus after the fight was talking about 12 years, almost like they were closing a chapter. And what a way to go out, right? A big win over an up and comer. Seems to me like Anthony Pettis might be going in a different direction. What do you think?
I had heard that it was the last fight. I don't think, you don't make much of it. And when a guy's getting ready to compete. With that being said, I would not be surprised if he ends up with his brother, but I do believe that Anthony Pettis is still such a high-level fighter, he can go wherever he wants.
Yeah. I mean, huge addition to the PFL roster because they need a name like him. He's on a winning streak, right? So he's not one of these guys that's a cast-off, if you will. He's on a winning streak, has won his last 2. Remember, he beat Donald Cerrone in a very close fight back in May. Would be a huge addition to the Bellator roster. The best part about it to me is he says he's going back to 55. I think 55 is better for Anthony Pettis. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, absolutely. That's his weight class. But the way he fought Morono last weekend was good, and he looked good, right? Like physically, he looked better than he has in the past at 170 pounds. So 55 is his weight class, but 70, man, physically, he had a 6-pack. He looked good. He didn't look a little chubby. At times, if a 170-pound man can look chubby, Pettis looked a little chubby at times, and God,
Damn,
I'm calling someone chubby. He calls somebody chubby, but I'm saying, like, when you look at AP and you see him in the best shape of his life, Saturday looked like he was close to that, even at 170.
Rob Font.
All right, let me just say this real quick. Can I say something?
Sure.
I'm about to take my inhaler because I'm having a difficult time breathing right now. I don't know if you can even tell. Like, I'm having a very.
I just thought you were emotional because it was the final show of the year.
No, I'm having so much trouble breathing. My inhaler's on his way. My inhaler's on his way right now.
Oh, okay. So, do you want to keep going?
No, we'll keep going. Let's do this. I'm gonna grind through. The king of the grind will push through this. But I just want to tell you because, boy, I got so much more to say. But every time I get going, I'm like.
Okay. Well, I want to mention Rob Font with the big win over Marlon Moraes. And Marlon Moraes, the decision to leave Mark Henry and Ricardo Almeida has not panned out for him. Massive win for him.
But I think it was more than that, though, Ariel. I think one of the themes of the meetings we had with him, I know we're going, but like we asked him about coming back too fast. And he said, I want to compete. I think it might have been too fast for Marlon Moraes because for him to get hurt, and I know Rob Font hit hard, but for him to get hurt like that with a jab shows that the chin wasn't completely refreshed from the knockout from Sanhagen.
I do want to ask you about Duron Win, your guy.
He got it done, right?
He got it done. But, Bisping's, kind of like needling you.
He was mad about that, too. He was mad about that. Duron was mad.
Oh,
Duron,
why?
He's like, tell Michael Bisping I'll take him down all those times. He'll be as tired as this guy was. And I'm like, hey. So then I call him. I go, was it the treadmill comment? He goes, it was the treadmill comment. I was like, it was hilarious. He's like, I love Bisping. He said, but man, it's hard to do and it's hard to defend. So he did a good job, man. Now he's 2-2 through his first 4 UFC contract, and his first contract's done, and now it's time for him to start looking at what's next. So it's good.
Wow, so that really was a big fight for him. I mean, he really was fighting potentially for his UFC career.
It was a massive fight.
Just curious, how difficult is it for you, honestly?
It was hard.
Probably harder than the Khabib fight, right?
It's hard. It's very difficult because with Khabib, it's a finished product, right? I have 100% confidence that he's going to get it done regardless of who's in there. With Duron, I do have confidence in him, but there's also that worry, the little brother worry, and also the fact that he's fighting for his job and all these other things, so it was a hard spot. And honestly, the producer said, gave me the option. I was going to offer you this one off because I know it's a big spot for you, but I figured it was better for you to be
just to sit out the fight.
Sit out the fight, yeah.
Wow, and you took it.
Yep, I'd rather do the job.
Good on you.
Good on them for actually offering that to me.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The place that I'm in with Duron, but he took the guy down a whole bunch of times, man, and to do that is so exhausting, especially when you can't hold the guy down like Duron was having trouble holding him down.
So all in all, a great way to end the year.
Listen. I saw something yesterday on Duron Twitter. Somebody told Duron, UFC's probably going to cut you. You fought so awful. For the record, no, they did not cut him, Twitter hater. Duron Win got a new contract. And so good for Duron,
Wow,
that's how
you're breaking
big
news.
That spot was for him. That was
breaking some news here.
That's how big a spot that was for Duron that he got extended, which is great.
Mini DC ending the year on a high note. I know he loves it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Christmas present. That's a Christmas gift right there for Duron Win.
Damn, all he does is win. Duron, all he does is win.
Oh, that's a perfect nickname. How is he not using that? He owes that one to you.
You're welcome. Now, DC, I did want to spend some time. Yes.
Okay, I got to refrain from saying that. But he doesn't always just.
I know he doesn't. I
mean, come on.
Listen, you just got to go with it. You just got to pretend like you always win. So like I said before, I was so rudely interrupted for the fourth time. I did want to spend some time. I mean, I'm trying to get a moment out here. I'm trying to have a moment with you and you keep interrupting. Are you okay? Can you breathe? Yes. It's been a crazy year, DC. March 5th. Let's go back to March 5th. You and I in Las Vegas, right? At the radio studio over there, ESPN Radio 1100, the inaugural episode of DC and Helwani, right? Prior to UFC, what was it, 248? Izzy versus Romero and Zhang Weili versus Yuania Jacek. And there we are. We've convinced the powers that be to give us this radio show.
We begged them.
Justin Craig, shout out. Glenn Jacobs, shout out. And there we are sitting. I'm wearing gloves. You're laughing at me.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I forgot about that.
I went back and listened to it. It's crazy to listen because I'm talking about how this is going to be a new thing on ESPN Radio before every UFC pay-per-view and stuff like that. And
did you sound excited?
I was very excited. I was very happy. I was very excited. And little did we know, 18 days later, there we are doing a show in our homes.
Wait, that was only 18 days?
So March 5th was the radio show, right?
Yeah.
March 7th was UFC 248. March 9th was my last show in Bristol. March 16th, no one knew what the heck was going on. I did an IG live with Colby Covington because it was coming off the Gilbert Burns fight and all that stuff. March 23rd, and a couple days prior, we convinced the powers that be, hey, let us do this little placeholder. Let's do DC and Helwani, give people something to think about, give them an escape, give them something to laugh about. And little did we know, the placeholder became a thing. Pretty amazing, right?
It's insane. I didn't realize it happened that fast. I know that we were asking for more time on radio, right? That's all we wanted, was to have it happen as often as we could, a chance to talk about fights and talk to the fans and try to entertain. But man, I didn't realize it was only 2 weeks from that show. But I remember walking into that studio, and it was me and you and Glenn went. Remember Glenn? He actually came to get us started, and it was late at night, and the phone lines never stopped ringing during the whole time. It was fantastic. We've had a lot of support from day one from the fans, and honestly, it has taken some nudging to get ESPN to get on board. But now, not only are we doing the show, I've got a contract, and it's a real thing now. We play on TV every week, so that's crazy. Like, to think from March to now, we're on TV every single week, and we do a show every week from nothing. Like, when you talk about willing something into existence, that's exactly what we did. We're lucky, man.
And what about those early shows? Man, those were fun. And, honestly, even though you gave me some crap at the beginning of this show, I need to thank you as you inhale your nose. I need to thank you. Go ahead, do it. You don't have to hide it.
Go ahead.
You're done?
Yeah, I'm good.
That was it? All right. No, I want to thank you. And I think I speak for a lot of people. Like, you helped me a lot, right? I mean, I really looked forward to those Mondays and the laughs that we had talking about crazy stuff. Remember, your idea about Fight Island and the plane and leaving Iwan Kutilaba.
How mad Iwan got and how mad Sarge got. Oh, they were so mad at me. I was like, man, I'm not. Yeah, I remember that one. That was good. We had some good clips early when everyone's just I love the show and everything about the show. But boy, when we were just kind of, just going off and doing nothing, like it was crazy. Like, who in the world let these two dudes just get on a computer every week for an hour and a half to just talk about random stuff? It was great.
We had Dahlia. We had Todd Duffy versus John Belante. But the best one ever, the best one, which I'll watch periodically just to laugh, is Helwani. You getting duped by the fake tweet, coming on and asking about the Vladimir Putin.
No idea.
You thought Vladimir Putin gave Khabib Nurmagomedov permission to leave Russia, and then Dana responds to it, and then Helwani responds, and you're like, "Oh, you're a big boy now," because he said That was just crazy, man. That was crazy. I don't know if I've ever laughed so much, knowing. No. And I didn't want to I didn't want to correct you. I wanted to see how far it could go.
How in the world did you not tell me? Like, I was like, yo, and then you tweet Dana. I was like, oh, you're so tough now, right? Remember, I was like, oh, you're so tough now. And the whole time, it was somebody named Ariel Helwani. That's so great. And then the way you said it, DC, it's not me. It's a guy named Ariel Helwani. I was like, oh my gosh.
Those are great
I
memories.
need some of those clips. We need to recycle some of those clips at the end of the year, man. You know what we should do?
Yeah.
They should get some of like our best clips of the year and just give it to us so we can put it on our social media, because people would go insane for like a 1 minute clip of us just losing our minds on stuff like Dahlia and Helwani.
Well, on the ESPN2 version of our show, which airs Tuesday nights at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific, there will be a bit of a compilation of those moments. So how about you, producer DC? Yep, it's true. They told me.
When? Please tell me. I want to watch it.
Tomorrow night.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
Because the viewers of the web version sometimes forget that we have a TV version as well of the show. I mean, we're kind of multifaceted, right? We got the podcast, we got the web version, we got the TV.
Are we still a radio show or no?
Not really.
We have a radio show when we go back. Like, has that been defined or no?
I think they're keeping it, warm for us, but for now we've kind of moved on to this medium.
Okay. We'll live here. This is a great place to be. I'm telling you, I'm happy. Ariel, I'm happy. I'm very happy.
I'm happy you're happy, DC. So we had those 2 months where, I mean, amazingly, like there was stuff to talk about, but there wasn't. And somehow we were doing, shows that were an hour and a half long, talking about all this
great
stuff.
Numbers.
WrestleMania. It was a fun time. But then we get to 249, Jacksonville, essentially the first American sports league back, right? I was watching a Top Rank show yesterday. They didn't give credit to the UFC. They should have.
Really?
UFC, credit where it's due. They were the first one back. You were there, and I'm just curious, like, because now, I mean, you've done the Jacksonville shows, you've done the Apex shows, you've done obviously the Fight Island shows in Abu Dhabi. When you think back to those Jacksonville shows, how different was it from now?
Way different. Ariel's way different. Do you remember the guy? You remember the guy at that arena? The ViStar Arena?
Yeah.
The ViStar Arena. I'm like, yo. Can I get a hot dog? You ever trying to get a hot dog when I walked to the concession stand? I mean,
the usher.
One usher sitting in the dark. It was so dark. Nobody was there. Big arena. Like, the guys were walking out in the dark. So now it looks like still pretty much a walkout, right? It's not as dark. It's not as abandoned looking as it did in that arena. Man, that arena was empty. So that's why guys could hear us so well, because it was such a big arena that everything was carrying as you spoke. Now in the Apex, it's not as big. They can still hear you, obviously, but it's not as much space. But I remember, man, like going into the hotel and having to take the first time we started getting all that COVID testing, right? The uncertainty of whether or not you had come in contact with the virus, or and how the UFC was going to manage you inside the bubble, right? All the precautions that were in place. It was crazy going into that arena for an event with no fans, because it was so unheard of. And then the guys delivered, right? And Ngannou puts Jairzinho out in no time. Quadruple C defends his title by finishing Dominic Cruz. Who could have ever thought?
You can't call him quadruple C. He's not a quadruple C yet. What are you talking about?
He can give himself that name. Listen, if Henry Cejudo says he's going to get another C to his name, I'm never going to doubt him, because he never loses. He always does whatever he says he's going to do. And then the main event, Justin Gaethje pitches a complete shutout of Tony Ferguson when Tony Ferguson on a 12-fight win streak. And we all sat there, me, Anik, and Rogan, going, wasn't that bad. It's crazy. It just wasn't that bad. And then do you remember the guys were walking out, there was like one fan. Like there was that random guy that was like, who's that? Yeah. Like, who's that dude? And how did that dude get in here? Right? It was man, crazy stuff.
You know what's also crazy? And when I think back to those early shows, that one, of course, the Anthony Smith Glover Teixeira show, like those early ones, right? Gilbert Burns versus Tyron Woodley. It's amazing to me how many people were starving for sports, live sports, to do daily fantasy on, to bet on, to just forget about things. and watch who aren't UFC fans. I mean, like family members of mine who never spoke to me about anything UFC related, who never talked to me about even Conor McGregor, right? Or Khabib or John Jones, who are now massive fans of UFC as a result of those early shows when there was nothing going on. Listen, it was a gamble. There's no doubt about it. And, people were critical, no doubt about it. And there were questions, and I questioned it. I'll be honest, not as critical as some people want to make it out to be, but hey, the gamble paid off.
Could I say something?
Yeah.
When Dana White was almost bullish with the idea that he was going to bring sports back, right? It was like, but how? When there are no sports and there does not seem to be an avenue to bring sports back. And he said every day he worked and he worked and he worked. Him and the staff at the UFC, people didn't believe it. They didn't think it was possible, but they did. And they did it in a way that showed everyone that if you're willing to not only spend the money to get everybody tested and everything, but to create these safe spaces, these safe environments, you can have great sports. And as time has gone on, Ariel, it's become more appealing to the eyes because now, sure, it's not an arena with 20,000 people in there going crazy when people hit the curtain. But when you watch it on television, it's very appealing to watch in terms of it doesn't seem that different anymore. Jacksonville seemed different. It was an octagon with a spotlight, right? Yeah. Remember, it was an octagon with a spotlight. It doesn't seem different anymore.
Well, it's interesting because some sports, I think, have adapted well. MMA at the top of the list. Other sports, like pro wrestling, it's tough with no fans, right?
Pro wrestling's tough. Football has done a good job, I think.
Football's fine. Baseball was just weird for some reason. I don't know.
Basketball did really good.
The bubble, yeah. Now it still looks a little weird, but it's just interesting to see everyone adapt. And so let me ask you, because I was just watching a promo about Conor's fight, right? And there was a shot of him after the Cerrone fight walking out, and he's like being mobbed by fans. And it's so weird. It's so weird. I feel like I think about this all the time now when I watch old sports clips or even movies. And even on Saturday, I was watching the Canelo fight at the Alamo Dome. There were 15,000 people in what is like a 70,000 seat arena. And it's just like, wow, this is so weird for you, because I haven't been to one of these yet. You have a bunch. Is it almost weird to think back? Like, has this become so normal to you that it's almost weird to think back to what it was like being in an arena with 20,000 people? It's amazing how 9 months can make something feel so foreign, at least from the TV perspective. What is it like for you? Can you even remember what that was like?
I remember, how loud it would get, right? When we had those cans on our ear to block out all the extra noise. And I felt like we almost experienced a little bit of it in the Moreno versus Figueiredo fight. Like, it felt loud. And I was like, wow, I remember how it felt to have fans in here. But you're right. When we have fans come back, it's going to be a bit different. It's going to be a bit, I bet we'll all have a really weird, different type of emotions, because anytime you're in big spaces now, you're nervous. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we're going to have to deal with a lot of emotion in regards to that, but we want the fans back. For as normal as this has become, for as easy as the job has become, dude, our job now is so much easier. I mean, Ariel, I'll go to the UFC sometimes. I don't stand up one time, right? If I'm not doing post-fight interviews, I never get up.
Yeah.
I literally sit there the whole time. I go and I sit. No stand-ups to start the show. No stand-ups to start the pay-per-views. You just go and you sit and watch and call fights. So it's made the job easier. We miss the fans, but you're right. It has become a bit of the norm to just be in these smaller venues watching fights.
Yeah, I miss the fans. I miss the old events. There were so many big moments this year, despite all of that. And one of the biggest, of course, was your retirement fight against Stipe. And can I just say, I still have some lingering questions that I want to ask you about. Yeah, I still have some things. All this time, I still have some lingering questions. Number one, how is your eye? We haven't really talked about the eye.
Honestly, man, it's like it's good, but it's not like it was. It's kind of a little bit like down, but it's all good.
Whatever. Does it hurt?
Doesn't hurt, but for a guy that makes his living on TV, that could be a bit of an issue at times. So I got to try to figure a way to, I don't know. I really don't know what I can do in order to change it, but.
Have you seen a doctor?
I've seen a doctor a couple times. Yeah. They told me what it was initially. And then, now.
Here's the inhaler. Here's you pretending like, wait, you got a second inhaler?
Yeah, I got a second one. You want to, but yeah, I've seen them a couple times. They told me what it was originally. And I just don't know what I'm going to have to do cosmetically in order to make it exactly what I need it to be.
You want to have your Greg Hardy moment right here? No, do it on camera. Come on, I want to see it. No? All right. You feel better now?
Oh, now I do. I'm back.
Oh, this is great. He's back, baby.
He's back, baby.
I'm back. All right. Well, I'm
just like it just opens up the chest.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm sorry to hear that. I did want to ask, but at least, I mean, you could see out of it, right? Like, there's no vision issues.
I can see. But again, like the bright light after too long can get a bit much. But it's really more cosmetic, if I'm being honest, just because I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened because he just kind of stuck it and again, not purposely, but it was a rough one.
Why didn't you wrestle more in that fight? You said, bring your wrestling shoes. I look back, only 2 takedown attempts. He had more takedown attempts than you did. I think he had 5.
I just took 1 takedown attempt, I believe.
It said that I think I looked at the stats. It said, I'll check again. I think it said that you were 1 for 2.
I took him down the first time. And then honestly, when we started fighting in the second round, I felt like I was having a good second round. And you got to think, through the first 2 fights, I had outstruck him the vast majority of the fights, so, what was weird to me was that they talked about how the small octagon would benefit me. And ultimately, it was what really changed the fight for me because I thought I fought a great second round. And I thought I was winning the second round. And with like 10 seconds left, I just hit him with a combination. And I got stuck along the side of the fence, which was very close. And I tried to circle off to the wrong side. And he literally just started swinging his right hand as hard as he could. Not technically. He just started throwing right hands. And he ended up hitting me and dropping me, which hurt me very bad. Third round, I had to recover, right? So instead of winning the first round like I did on the judges' scorecards, and as I was winning in the first round, I lost the second. Essentially, I had to give up the third round. But not only did I give up the third round, it showed him a path, right? That if he can get close and clinch, he was able to hold me. And because I allowed him to do that to kind of shake the cobwebs, he went back to that in the 5th round whenever I thought the fight was on the table. What was the scorecards? What was the scores of this fight? 49-46? What was the scores of our fight? 48, 49, 46, 40.
Derek Cleary had it 49-46. Sal D'Amato had it 49-46. And Jinshiro Kamijo had it 47-48. 48-47 for him.
Yeah. Right. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I thought I won a couple rounds. I guess I didn't, but
Well, yeah, according to, Kamijo had it 48-47.
It showed him a path, right? That if he can get to the clinch, he can hold me there. And I think he spent a lot of time there in the 3rd round and in the 5th round for sure.
Have you rewatched it?
I've watched some of it. I don't go back and watch fights that quickly.
Does it bother you still?
Of course, I'm a competitor. And I didn't get to fight my best fight. I think that I didn't fight my best fight. I fought a decent fight, but I didn't fight my best fight because, Ariel, I got to be honest, man. Like, you think about, I spoke to Bob Cook about this just the other day. When I had that back surgery in 2018 after Derek Lewis, it was over. It was over. Like, I mean, it was over. And I fought twice since, and I possibly should not have. I think you can find those things in hindsight. But when I had that back surgery, it so severely limited what I could do that it was pretty much over. I just wasn't the same guy. And I trained hard last fight, and Stipe beat me, but I just wasn't the same guy no more after the back surgery. I should have probably stopped.
Really?
And, I should have probably stopped. I wasn't the same guy. I couldn't train as I trained before. And that's about as honest as I can be with everyone.
Do you regret sticking around?
I think you can't live with regret. Living with regret is tough. It sucks, because at the end of 2018, I was on top of the world. I was number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world. I had beat Stipe. I had defended our one-back light heavyweight championship. I had beat Derek Lewis. Anytime you're the first at anything in the UFC, it's massive. And at the end of 2018, I was riding that wave. But then my back was just so bad. It was bad for a long time, right? There were a lot of times where middle of training camp, I would have to take days off because my back was so beat up and just legitimately break everything down to the core, all the wear and tear in order to get back on my feet. I remember times in the middle of my championship run or before where I was crawling up the stairs at my house because my back was so jacked up, but I was always able to manage it. But then once I had that surgery, it was done, and honestly, man, I all respect to Stipe, but time got me. And I don't think for a second, if I didn't deal with the injuries and I still believe I'm a better fighter, even though he won those last couple fights, because time got me. Time got me. The surgery and time got me. And Stipe Miocic was in the right time. He was in the right spot, and he deserved it, and I'm not going to sit here and take anything away from, but if it was anyone, he deserved it to be the guy that got to get those last couple of victories over me.
Well, speaking of Stipe, a quick aside, they want him to return in March against Francis Ngannou. I know they had some talks last week, didn't finalize a deal. Hearing now that they're targeting 2 pay-per-views in March, one of them would be headlined by Stipe versus Francis, the other headlined by Izzy versus Jan Blachowicz. Brett Okamoto reporting earlier today that Megan Anderson versus Amanda Nunes booked for that March 6th card. So we've got a lot of big fights coming up with a lot of big names. 2021 is going to start in a big way, but let's continue to wrap up 2020. The most fun I had reporting on a story, DC, the story that I think captured the imagination of everyone, and I think part of it was because nothing else was going on, and also because it was so crazy, was Masvidal taking that fight on 7 days' notice against Usman, saving the day, the first Fight Island show, saving the day. I mean, here's Game Bread. I remember that video his manager posted of him like walking out of the plane. I mean, he was just, he just looked like such a gangster saving the day. And unfortunately for him, it didn't turn out well, although I would say that his stock went up just because he saved the day. And, it's crazy because, like, you think of Masvidal, you think of Nate Diaz, you think of even Conor McGregor, John Jones. All these guys fought either once or 0 times in 2020, right? Diaz didn't fight at all. And I think, like, one of the themes of the year has been a lot of new guys took the opportunity to fight multiple times, right? And fight consistently, like a Kevin Holland that we talked about last year. And for whatever reason, the older guys and some of the more established names didn't fight as many times. You know what I mean? Kind of weird. Like Stipe only fought once. Multiple champions only fought once or didn't fight at all. Conor fought once. Just kind of a weird year in that regard, where we saw a lot of new people step up and the bigger names not fight as consistently.
Yeah, and I think that also speaks to the UFC and the machine that it is, right? Like when you can have guys like those guys that we know, all the names we're so familiar with, not fight, and the UFC may have had one of its best years in a long time, so it speaks to what the UFC is as an organization in terms of how they can churn out opportunities for more guys to build their names, but you do miss those established stars. You miss the guys, you miss the Connors and the Jones, and you miss the Diaz. You miss those guys competing because those are the names. Could you imagine, though, during this pandemic, if those guys fought? I mean, Masvidal and Usman sold 1.3 million pay-per-views, right? Imagine a guy like Conor fighting in the midst of the pandemic. He might have sold 2 million pay-per-views. Imagine,
more. I think more.
Imagine Jones fighting, or imagine Diaz fighting. Like, the pay-per-views would have been massive because people were tuning in to watch guys that weren't necessarily household names in droves. So imagine what they would have done for established stars, because I know what we did on pay-per-view, right? Because of all the times that we spent in main events, me, Stipe, and I. So imagine what it would have done for some more of these established stars to be out there fighting during the pandemic.
What was your favorite moment or story of the year?
My favorite moment of the year, honestly, man, I'm always going to seem like a homer, in this situation, but Fight Island with Khabib, that was the one for me. You know, him doing what he did in the fight with Justin, retiring in the way that he did, honoring his father's name, being able to share that his mother had. Because, bro, for me, honestly, Ariel, hearing that his mom goes, "This was your guys' thing, and I don't want you to do it without him," that feels sweet to me, right? Like, you don't get that much in this world today. Like, you don't get a mom going, "This was you and your father's dream, and I want it to stay you and your father's. I don't want all these memories to become you after he was not on this earth anymore." So that meant a lot to me. Just even from the immediate finish where he was pointing to the corner going, "You guys calm down," right? Because he was going to take his moment to kind of sit there and shed the tears and unload all that weight that he had been carrying after his father's passing. So that was my moment, man. And to be there and have to try to not cry, being all choked up as he was talking. And yeah, that's the one for me. That's the one that means the most for me.
Is it true that Dana's going to have you at his meeting with him in January to try to mediate this whole thing?
No, I'm not. I'm not going there. I'm going to
Why
go
not?
to.
You could be like the Michael Jordan. You could be like the guy who mediates the whole thing.
But again, like as I've told you, you know, that's not. I have nothing. I have no place in this because, like I said, I'm so content with whatever decision my friend makes that I'm good.
What a moment that was. That's going to be like the Jordan moment from 1996, right? We will remember that moment. We will talk about that. That will be one of the indelible images of the sport until the end of time. Him, I mean, the baddest guy on the planet, right? Like the number one pound for pound fighter in many people's eyes, crying like a little child. It was heartbreaking. I don't care what you think of Khabib. I don't care if you're a Conor fan to the death. I don't care if you hate Khabib for whatever reason because he beat your guy, Justin Gaethje. In that moment, it was impossible not to feel for him and want to love the guy,
human, right?
Yeah.
You want to. It felt like everybody in the world should want to hug him, right? Because everybody's lost someone so dear to him. But, you know, not everybody has relationships like Khabib has with his dad.
Can I tell you a moment? Yeah. Can I tell you a moment that has stuck with me? And I don't know why it has stuck with me, but I always, when I think of this year, I always think of this moment like right off the top.
What?
Darren Till walking out to no music for some reason impacted me.
Well, honestly, because before it was so crazy when he would come out to Sweet Caroline. Right. So it was like such a flip of the coin, right? One side is the crowd in Liverpool, the crowd in Dallas. I mean, I was there when he fought Tyron for the belt in Dallas. It was crazy. And for him walking out with no music all of a sudden, it really does speak to what the year really was, in a sense that the year was just turned on its head.
But I love that it was Darren Till who did it because, again, going back to those couple months when nothing was going on, Darren Till gave a lot of people entertainment. At the end of the day, what is this all about, right? The reason I love this job and the reason I love sports so much is because it's an escape. You know, you mentioned the Buffalo Bills, and it sucks that Bills fans can't go to games. But I would argue this is the most special year ever for Bills fans because it is giving us something to be excited about, something to think about, and not all the doom and gloom going on around the world. And so for Till, the guy who was so entertaining, you remember like on Instagram, I mean, the guy was on fire, to have the presence of mind to say, "Hey, fans, without you, I'm not walking out to this song." It made me emotional. Honestly, it really did feel like a very sweet moment. And I love that it was Darren Till, the guy who's like the people's champ in many respects. Yeah. For the English fans. He was the one who thought of that. That was awesome, in my opinion.
I never thought of it that way. You know, like the song is for you and I together. I never thought I never thought of it like that. But when you listen to the reactions he gets when he walks out to that song, it makes absolute sense. And Darren Till, in a year where he only fought once, right? And lost one fight that he fought, his stock and his profile has raised because of his social media presence and him doing what he did in the fight that he got to compete against Robert Whittaker.
And can I also just say, before we transition, I don't know, and maybe I'm a victim of the moment, prisoner of the moment, right? Revisionist history, all that stuff that we hate. I don't know if I've ever been this excited about the future of the sport. And in particular, if we're going to focus on the UFC here for a second, because let's be honest, there was a big gap between the UFC and everyone else because they came back so soon. They put on so many events.
Well, even knock on the others. It got bigger, right? The gap actually got bigger this year because, you know, whereas, you know, we were starting to, you know, and Scott and those guys are doing great over at Bellator. They're doing a fantastic job. Mike Hogan, Scott Coker, Rich Chu, the rest of the guys, they're doing a fantastic job. But the pandemic and them having to shut everything down and sit back and watch the UFC just blast through the barriers and start to show why, once again, they're the leader in mixed martial arts, right? Because once the UFC did it, every other combat organization got an idea of how to do it. Because who was going to go out on their own and do it first? No one but Dana White and the UFC. And so the gap even it just got bigger because in those months where PFL, where Bellator, where ONE FC, and every other organization had to just sit back, the UFC was the only show in town and once again showed why it's the standard bearer for combat sports.
But if I could just finish my thought for a second, sometimes the UFC, oftentimes, historically, they have their schedule laid out, right? And they know that on December 19th, they're going to South Korea, and they know that on November 11th, they're going to Brazil. And a lot of times those cards are built for the market, right? Like you'll have a Brazil card with a lot of Brazilians, up-and-comers, this and that. This time, it was all about filling out the holes. And the majority of the events were in Las Vegas. So it allowed for guys like Kevin Holland. It allowed for someone like Figueiredo to fight twice in the span of 3 weeks. I think that we saw a lot of young guys take advantage of the moment and be more active, as opposed to like the slots being filled out 4 or 5 months in advance. The slots were being filled out 2-3 weeks in advance at this point. And I think that that's why we have seen a lot of new, fresh faces to be excited about heading into 2021. Does that make sense? Am I explaining this the right way? Because like if you had last year, the end of last year, like the last show was in South Korea, remember? The main event was Korean Zombie versus Frankie Edgar. I cannot tell you sitting here right now a single other fight on that card. Now, of course, it was a year ago and there have been so many, because a lot of it was like lesser known guys who were like, important to the market. But now you had cards just being built with who are the best guys available as opposed to the best guys for the market, which ultimately means, I think, newer stars being built quicker.
Well, you got to think about certain fighters' profile would not be what they were today if not for the circumstances. Hey, Kevin Holland has taken complete advantage of the opportunities, right? This young man now is legitimate. And this young man is now getting mentioned in the same breath as Israel Adesanya. I don't even know if he's in the top 15 yet. But when you win 5 fights in a row in 7 months, people start to look at you in that category. Mackenzie Dern has raised her profile so much in a year by fighting 3 times and winning those tough fights that she had to win.
Khamzat earlier.
Was that?
Khamzat earlier.
Khamzat Chimaev earlier in the year doing what he did. 2 fights on Fight Island, coming back and knocking out Gerald Mearshart. Joaquin Buckley. Think about this. If Joaquin Buckley didn't have these opportunities on Fight Island and then the fight again back in Vegas, all we would have remembered, if the landscape of what it was Kevin Holland beating him at the beginning of the year, right? He wouldn't have had those chances to come back and completely flip the script in 2 fights, and now could be staring on the barrel of a bad blood fight against James Krause. Like, you wouldn't have those chances. So it was a big year for young guys and girls to really take advantage of opportunities presented to them. And now they're legitimate superstars. I mean, Khamzat Chimaev is a star. I mean, the guy has over 1 million followers on Instagram. He's fought 3 times in the UFC because all eyes were on him. And when they were, he delivered.
So historically, every year, I've been doing it for the last 8 or so years, I give out the very prestigious Helwani Knows Awards. They used to be the MMA Awards, moved over to ESPN. We renamed them the Helwani Knows Awards. In fact, you have been the recipient of a few of these awards. Lest we forget, back in 2018, you won the Fighter of the Year award. What a great honor that was in your life. Did you ever get the trophy, by the way? Do you have it in your trophy case?
Yeah, it's in my trophy case, right next to my SB.
Okay.
Oh,
I mean,
big boy got an SB.
I mean, well deserved. January 6th, I'll be giving out my awards. I'll even have a special guest host with me to do so. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's the most extensive award show in the business. No, I would not. Come on. I would never reveal that here, and I would never allow someone like Ben Askren to steal the spotlight on such a prestigious day. But it's like 20 categories. I mean, it's just poster of the year, moment of the year, fighter, etc. But this is kind of like your last opportunity to speak to the people, at least on this program. And so I wanted to give you the opportunity to hand out some hardware if you'd like. I mean, you don't have to.
I would like to. Right.
Right.
So, huh?
You want to go ahead? I could tee you up, or
no, you don't need to tee me up.
Okay,
I'm gonna rip here for a second. Do you mind?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, guys. So here we go. the most prestigious award.
Oh, get out of here.
Hey, the Daniel Cormier Awards for 2020. I'm going to go here first. I'm going to start here first because you got to build. First, I'm going to give you the event of the year, UFC 249. We spoke about it earlier in the show, and as the first fight to come back, nothing will ever look like what we saw down in Jacksonville at the VyStar Arena, the home of the 5-time ABA basketball champion. I can't remember the name of the team, but they won a few titles down there. That event was fantastic. Female fight of the year. Listen, fight of the year first. I'll go fight of the year first. Mm-hmm. Fight of the year, I'm going to go Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Zhang Weili. Guys, it's very easy to do what Ariel just did, the recency bias, right? Well, remember, Brandon Moreno versus Deiveson Figueiredo was fantastic. And I started to think like that myself. Maybe that would be my fight of the year. But the reality is what those two women did in that octagon back in March was like nothing we'd ever seen. And part of the reason Romero and Adesanya looked so bad was because of what we saw right before with Weili versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk. It was a fantastic fight. I mean, you saw the highest level of mixed martial arts. You saw Joanna take off. You saw Weili catch up. You see Weili fade. You saw Joanna take the lead. You see Weili come back in the 5th round where the fight was on the table and really cement herself as the champion of that weight class by beating one of the best champions, the best champion that weight class I'd ever seen.
And what about that hematoma? I mean, that was an all-time hematoma.
That hematoma was ridiculous. Hasim Rahman-like hematoma.
Mark Hominick-like, yes.
I mean, or the guy, Mark Hominick, right?
Yeah,
who did he fight against? That's a Canadian guy, right?
Aldo, yes. UFC.
Yeah, I mean, just to see that, and to see that in a female fight, right? It just was crazy. Submission of the year. I'm going to give it to Jimmy Flick last weekend, Flying Triangle.
What? Right, you were telling me about recency bias?
Listen,
2 days ago.
There's 2. No, Jimmy Flick. There's 2 because you know who I was giving it to.
You can't give 2. You got to give 1.
You know who I was giving? You know I was going to give it to Ariane Lipski and Mackenzie Dern for those knee bars, but that Flying Triangle was insane, and also against the level of competition that he fought in order to pull it off. So
wow, Young DC, right?
Flying Triangle. Was that
Young DC?
That's what I said. I've never tried or would try nothing like that. Knockout of the year. I'm going with Kevin Holland. I know everybody's gonna say Joaquin Buckley, but like I said, the great Owen Hart, that was one of his finishing moves. So I've seen it time and time again. I've seen Owen do that same move Joaquin did. So I'm gonna go and say, when you knock somebody out off your back with hammer fist, insane. Female fight of the year, Zhang Weili.
Sorry.
Female fight of the year. Go ahead. Say your point.
Go ahead.
Female fight of the year, Zhang Weili, because there is something to the level of competition. Valentina Shevchenko looked fantastic in winning 2 fights, but beating Joanna, to me, a little bit bigger than the Jennifer Maia and Caitlin Chukagian fights at this point. Amanda Nunes fought Felicia Spencer. I know Amanda could probably be the fight of the year every single year, but I'm going Zhang Weili. Male fight of the year, Deiveson Figueiredo. We spoke about this last week, and when you could when you can win the belt, but not win the belt because you didn't make the weight, and then win the belt again, defend the belt, and then defend the belt even though it was a draw. No champions fight 4 times in 1 year, and Deiveson Figueiredo should be honored for that schedule and the way that he's fought.
Man, it's so typical that you wouldn't give it to Marvin Vettori after the snub, the EA snub. I can't believe you're doing Marvin dirty like that.
Fight of the year?
Yeah, of course.
What's he fought? 1 time?
No, twice. I mean, he had that big win over Jack Hermanson. By the way, I love how you make a joke about recency bias. You give Kevin Holland, who just got that knockout 2 weeks ago, Figueiredo,
Joaquin Buckley.
By the way, these aren't the December awards. I'm talking about the 2020 awards, not the December awards here.
Knockout was fantastic, but man, I've never seen what Kevin Holland did, and that's crazy. I've never seen it. It just doesn't happen.
Okay. That was it? Didn't you have another one?
You like that, huh? You like
another one? Didn't you have one more? Breakout fighter.
Oh, breakout fighter of the year. Yes, Kevin Holland.
Oh,
for
Kevin
sure.
Ooh, wow.
Kevin Holland. For sure.
Oh my gosh, I
Breakout
want to
fight.
weigh in on this.
5 victories in 7 months. Get that man in the game. Get Kevin Holland in the game.
If only we knew someone that could get him in the game.
And Khamzat Chimaev deserves an honorable mention.
Honorable mention. You can't give it honorable.
Khamzat deserves an honorable mention, but I'm going Kevin Holland. Right now. And you know what actually kind of put me over on Kevin Holland? Because right after the fight, he's like, Khamzat, what's up? Like nobody wants to fight Khamzat Chimaev, right? Kevin Holland's like, yo, you want to do it next week? I'm here. So
you went from driving the bandwagon, the Khamzat bandwagon, to snubbing him.
I'm still driving the Khamzat bandwagon.
Snubbing him.
But you five victories in 7 months is Kevin Holland is the breakout fighter of the year. It's not even close.
Well, I can't wait. I can't wait to give my picks.
Watch how many of yours are the same as mine. Don't buy. Just know now that you can't pick the same as I did.
That's it. What you can't. You can't. Don't worry.
You look like you're copying me.
Most of them aren't the same because yours were just a little bit off. I mean, again, I will say these weren't the December awards. These were the 2020 awards that I was asking you, but it seemed like you were focusing on December. That's all well and good. By the way, can I just quickly ask you? I mean, it's a big week coming up. I've never celebrated Christmas in my life, ever. Obviously, being a Jew. Yeah. What's the Cormier Christmas tradition? Like, what happens?
Okay, so normally we would go out to Christmas in the Park in San Jose. Mm-hmm. There's some ice skating. We would usually do that on Christmas Eve. Obviously, that's not happening this year. We'd eat dinner, and then we'd come home, and we'd hang out. And the next morning, we would do Christmas gifts, and the kids would enjoy it. We'd have a big old meal, and then we'd all pass out. And then we would make gumbo on the next day. With the leftover turkey, we'd make gumbo.
You have turkey on Christmas, too? Isn't that a Thanksgiving?
We have turkey on Thanksgiving. We have turkey on Christmas, and we eat gumbo with the extra turkey on the day after.
Wow. Are you going to do it again?
Yes, I am. I'm definitely going to do gumbo. I'm going to make jerk chicken on Christmas Eve. So on Tuesday night, I'm going to make my jerk paste, and I'm going to start to marinate it for jerk chicken on Christmas Eve.
Hopefully we get to do these in person a little bit in 2021. What do you say?
Man. Listen, it would be fun. It'd be great. And look, man, I got to be honest with you. I know I was mad at you beginning. I can't stay mad at you. I can't. You got that winning glow on you right now, too, the Buffalo Bills. I mean, you got that winning glow. I hope that you and the family are doing great. I hope that we did something special this year together. And I know through 10 years, we built a friendship in the dark that is now light. And I appreciate you, man. I would not want to do this show with anybody else. So it's been good. Also, man, let's thank the people that are helping us behind the scenes. You know, Sean, Jake, Elisa, Nick, like everybody that's helping us.
Troy,
yeah, TST, everyone that's helping us. Glenn, for giving us a chance. Justin Craig for seeing it in us from the very beginning. You know, there's been a lot of people that have really played a part in you and I having this opportunity, and we're lucky to have them.
Elizabeth, Brittany, Addison, Jordan, Alex, Michael wants over, a lot of names, a lot of great people behind the scenes. New York Rick and Tessa for all the clips that they give us on social media.
The best social media team in the business. New York Rick and Tessa, they're crushing it. I mean, they are absolutely killing it. And they've made a lot of people aware of our shows. I've had comments where people go, I mean, who do these for you guys? I'm like, well, you know, we do work at ESPN. You know, this ain't your brother's podcast. So we do work at ESPN, you know.
And last but not least, thank you very much to the fans. The fans have been great to us. There's no better message to receive, at least for me, when a fan writes me and says, thank you for giving me something to laugh about, to think about. Thank you for entertaining us. I look forward to Mondays. Like, those are the best. And they really feel good in here. Yeah. So thank you for the fans as well.
Yeah, the fans, we love you guys so much. Our guy, our guy does the photos.
Robert Pearson. How can we forget?
Robert Pearson, you can't forget Rob, so the fans have been fantastic. And you know what, man? Right away, they made us relevant in terms of this company. They put us right up there with some of the best podcasts at ESPN. And I don't like to just call it a podcast because it's so much more than that. But the fans have really elevated us, as they've done for me at every point in my career. And they've done for you, and that's why we've had the successes that we've had. So thank you guys.
It's great to see your career where it is after you got the Helwani rub. Like, I feel like you've just reached a whole other stratosphere. So I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you finally got the Helwani rubbed and hitched your wagon to the right horse. Just to let everyone know, one more Ariel and the Bad Guy this week. Then I return on January 6th for the prestigious.
Bro, it's just, I mean, we're over here. We're over here like,
and then
we're hugging.
January 11th,
right?
we'll be
hugging.
back.
Hey, you and I are hugging, right? We're hugging, and then you look over the shoulder and talk about your other girlfriend. Like, I mean, that's you in a nutshell.
We're back January 11th for a brand new episode of DC and Helwani. Happy holidays, everyone. Happy New Year. We love you very much. Back next year, same time and place. Until then, we say peace. We're out of here.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.